All right, so today we're going to really dig into digital transformation
Okay.
and specifically why having an agile coach is, well, it's kind of like your secret weapon
Mm,
if you're trying to navigate all of that stuff.
right.
It's a little bit like teaching an old dog new tricks.
It is.
It can be done,
Absolutely.
but it's a heck of a lot easier
Mm,
if you have the right guidance.
for sure.
And so we've got some great source material to unpack today.
Yeah.
And one excerpt that really caught my eye
Okay.
was this idea that going through digital transformation without an agile coach
Yeah.
is kind of like driving a tank with no map or compass.
Oh,
I think.
that's a good one.
What do you think about that?
I think that's a brilliant analogy, honestly,
Yeah.
because digital transformation isn't just about, implementing new software.
Right.
It's a complete overhaul
Yeah.
of how a company operates.
I think people kind of,
It's about changing mindsets,
yeah,
processes, culture,
the whole thing.
whole thing.
Yeah.
And so without that clear direction
Right.
and that skilled guide,
hmm
you are absolutely going to get lost
Yeah.
in the chaos of it all.
It's easy to get lost in the weeds,
Absolutely.
for sure.
Yeah.
So let's break this down a little bit, this whole tank with no compasses scenario.
Okay.
Um, our source material actually highlights a bunch of common challenges
Right.
that companies face
Yeah.
when they try to go digital without an agile coach.
Yeah.
And the first one is resistance to change. I
Sure.
think we've all encountered that.
Absolutely.
You got that one friend that refuses to let go of their flip phone.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that one person.
And
who-
so
it's
how do you deal with that in a business setting?
well, I mean, and that kind of resistance in a business setting can really stall progress.
Yeah.
People get comfortable with familiar routines even if they're outdated.
Right. An agile coach can help bridge that gap
Okay.
by facilitating communication
Yeah.
and demonstrating the value of new approaches.
So it's not just like, all right, we're doing this now.
Right. They don't just dictate change.
Yeah.
They guide teams through it,
Right.
making sure that everyone understands the why behind the what.
I think that's such a key point.
Yeah.
It's because you can't just force people to change overnight.
You can't.
There needs to be that clear understanding of the
hear.
benefits
Yeah.
and a sense of ownership
Yeah,
in the process.
exactly. And a good agile coach will help the team establish a shared vision
Okay.
and define clear goals.
Right.
Which ensures that everyone is rowing in the same direction.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of brings us to the next challenge,
Okay.
which is a lack of strategic alignment.
Okay.
Our source kind of paints this humorous picture of everyone pulling in different directions like headless chickens.
Right.
But in reality, this lack of alignment can be incredibly costly.
Oh, yeah. And inefficient for a business.
Yeah. It's like everyone's working hard, but no one knows where they're going.
Exactly.
You mentioned agile coaches helping teams establish a shared vision.
Yeah.
Are there specific tools or techniques that they use to achieve this?
Absolutely there are.
Okay.
One very common approach is to facilitate workshops
Okay.
where teams collaboratively define their objectives and key results,
Okay.
or OKRs.
Okay.
It's a framework for setting measurable goals
Mm-hmm.
and tracking progress.
Right.
Another technique is value stream mapping,
Okay.
which visually maps out all the steps involved in delivering a product or a service.
That makes sense.
And this helps identify bottlenecks
Okay.
and areas for improvement.
So it's about creating a roadmap everyone can follow.
Yes.
And making sure all efforts are aligned with that bigger picture.
Exactly.
Okay, that's a far cry from our headless chicken scenario.
Yeah, for sure.
Our source also dives into another common pitfall, which is inadequate training. And I can't help but think of that classic image of a monkey with a typewriter.
Right.
Hilarious, but not exactly productive.
It's tempting to assume that simply providing access to new digital tools is enough.
Right.
But without proper training on how to use those tools effectively,
Yeah.
you're setting people up for frustration and ultimately failure.
So it's not enough to just hand someone a shiny new digital tool and say, go make magic.
Exactly.
What kind of training do agile coaches typically provide in these situations?
Yeah.
Is it More about technical skills, or is it something else?
It's a combination of both.
Okay.
So Agile coaches often facilitate workshops or hands-on training sessions
Right.
to equip people with the technical skills needed to navigate new software or platforms.
Okay.
However, they also focus on building essential soft skills,
Okay.
like collaboration, communication, and problem solving.
So it's about the whole package.
It is.
Making sure they have the mindset as well as the tools. It's like giving someone a high-powered sports car. They need to know how to drive it
Absolutely.
before they can really unleash its full potential.
For sure.
That brings us to the next challenge highlighted in our source,
Right.
which is poor communication and collaboration.
Right.
And during periods of rapid change, communication breakdowns are almost inevitable.
They are.
Silos form, information gets lost. Misunderstandings run rampant.
Yeah. It's like watching a bad reality TV show.
Oh, man. You nailed it with that one.
Yeah.
So much drama.
So much drama.
So little progress.
So little progress.
So how does an Agile coach help break down those communication barriers
Yeah.
and foster a more collaborative environment?
Well, one of the key principles of Agile is transparency.
Okay.
An Agile coach might introduce practices like daily stand-up meetings,
Okay.
where team members briefly share their progress, challenges, and plans for the day.
So everyone's on the same page.
Exactly.
Oh.
Keeps everyone in the loop.
That sounds a lot more efficient than trying to track down information through endless email chains. Oh, yeah. Or hallway conversations.
Yes.
Our source material also talks about the dangers of undefined roles and responsibilities
Sure.
during a digital transformation.
Yeah.
They use this image of everyone trying to steer a ship with no one knowing which way to go.
Yeah.
Total chaos.
It's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
When roles are unclear, people step on each other's toes. Tasks fall through the cracks.
Right.
Accountability disappears.
Yeah. No one knows who's doing what.
Exactly.
So how does an Agile coach come in and fix that?
An Agile coach can help establish clear roles and responsibilities,
Okay.
empowering individuals to take ownership
Right.
and contribute effectively.
So it's not just about avoiding chaos.
Right.
It's about empowering people
Exactly.
to actually thrive in those roles.
It is a common tool that Agile coaches will use for this is a RCI matrix.
Okay.
It clearly outlines who is responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed
Gotcha.
for each task or decision.
So there's no question.
Eliminates ambiguity
Yeah.
and ensures that everybody knows who to go to for what.
It's like having a clear organizational chart for every project.
Yes.
You know,
And
making
look-
sure everybody knows their role and who to collaborate with.
Absolutely.
I'm curious to hear more about the specific techniques Agile coaches use to overcome these challenges
Yeah.
and guide organizations toward a smoother digital transformation journey.
Sure. You're right. It's not enough to just define those roles. An Agile coach kind of goes beyond that,
Okay.
helping teams adopt practical methodologies and,
Right.
and frameworks that promote agility and efficiency.
Okay.
For instance, they might introduce Scrum,
Oh.
which is a popular Agile framework
Uh-huh.
that breaks down work into smaller, manageable sprints.
It sounds a lot more manageable than trying to tackle a massive project all at once.
It is.
Does the Scrum approach involve any specific rituals or practices?
Yeah, so Scrum utilizes daily stand-up meetings, sprint planning sessions, sprint reviews,
Okay.
and sprint retrospective.
Gotcha. So it's like built-in checkpoints along the way.
Exactly. These regular check-ins help maintain focus, identify and address obstacles,
Right.
and foster continuous improvement.
So you're constantly reassessing and making sure you're still on the right track.
Yep.
Our source material mentions that an Agile coach shouldn't be seen as a permanent fixture,
Right.
which seems kind of counterintuitive.
It does.
Why wouldn't you want to keep someone so valuable around?
It might seem odd,
Yeah.
but the ultimate goal of an Agile coach is to empower the organization to become self-sufficient.
So they're working themselves out of a job.
They are.
They're not there to lead forever,
Right.
but to equip the team with the skills and knowledge
Exactly.
to sustain these practices on their own.
Yeah, think of it like teaching someone to ride a bike.
Okay?
You provide support and guidance initially,
Mm-hmm.
but eventually they gain the balance and the skill to ride independently.
Right.
An Agile coach does the same thing,
Okay.
fostering a culture of agility that continues to thrive even after they've moved on.
I love that analogy. That's great.
Yeah,
It really highlights the transformative power of an Agile coach.
it does.
Now, I'm sure our listeners wondering, what does all of this mean for them?
Right.
Why should they care about Agile coaches and digital transformation?
Well, even if you're not leading a large-scale digital transformation initiative,
Yeah.
the principles of agility are so valuable in today's rapidly changing world.
Okay.
Whether you're part of a small team running your own business or simply navigate in your personal life, being able to adapt, collaborate, and continuously learn is essential for success.
Does these concepts go beyond the corporate world
They do.
and can be applied to all aspects of our lives?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Think about areas in your own life where you might be resistant to change, where communication could be improved,
Okay.
or where clearer roles and responsibilities could lead to better outcomes.
You're right. We can all benefit from adopting a more agile mindset,
Absolutely.
even in our personal lives. I have to admit, though, sometimes the idea of bringing in an agile coach can seem a bit daunting.
Yeah.
Are there any potential downsides or things to be wary of?
You bring up a good point. Like with any change initiative, there are potential pitfalls.
Okay.
One common challenge is finding an agile coach who is the right fit for the organization's culture
Right.
and specific needs.
You can't just plug and play any agile coach into any organization.
Exactly. It's not a one-size-fits-all solution.
So it's about finding an agile coach who understands the nuances of that organization
Yeah.
and can tailor their approach accordingly.
Exactly. Another challenge is that some individuals within the organization might perceive the agile coach as a threat,
Okay.
especially if they are resistant to change.
Which, as we discussed earlier, is pretty common.
It is.
So how can organizations address this potential resistance?
Well, transparency and communication are key.
Yeah.
It's important to be clear about why an agile coach is being brought in
Right.
and what the expected outcomes are.
Right. So everyone's on the same page again.
Exactly. Involving employees in the process and addressing their concerns
Okay.
can help mitigate resistance and foster buy-in.
So it's about building trust and making sure everyone feels heard.
It is.
It sounds like it's crucial for both the organization and the agile coach
Yeah.
to focus on building relationships and fostering a culture of trust.
Absolutely. An agile coach who can effectively communicate, collaborate, and build rapport
Right.
will be far more successful in facilitating lasting change.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive into the world of agile coaches and their role in navigating digital transformation.
Yeah.
But before we wrap things up, is there
Yeah.
anything else our source highlights that we haven't touched on yet?
As we've been discussing the role of an agile coach,
Yeah.
I've been struck by how many parallels there are between navigating organizational change and personal growth. It's like we all have our own digital transformations happening in our lives,
Right.
constantly adapting to new technologies, ways of working, societal shifts.
That's true.
Yeah.
So it's not just about big companies adopt in new software
No, not at all.
or streamlining processes.
Think about the last time you had to learn a new skill, adapt to a change in your routine,
Right.
or collaborate with others on a project.
Yeah.
Those are all situations where an agile mindset can be incredibly helpful.
So what's the key takeaway you want our listener to walk away with today?
I think the most important thing is to recognize that change is inevitable. Whether it's driven by technology, societal trends, or personal circumstances,
Right.
our ability to adapt and evolve is crucial for thriving in a world that's constantly in flux.
Like that saying, the only constant is change.
Exactly.
But how do we become more comfortable with change?
By embracing the principles of agility,
Okay.
that means being open to new ideas,
Right.
willing to experiment,
Yeah.
and comfortable with failing fast and learning from our mistakes.
So we've got like that whole growth mindset thing.
It's about fostering a growth mindset
Okay.
and recognizing that we're all on a continuous learning journey.
So instead of resisting change, we should see it as an opportunity for growth and development.
Exactly.
All right, so to wrap up,
Yeah.
you don't have to be a CEO or a tech expert to benefit from this agile mindset.
No, you don't.
These principles can be applied to really any area of your life when you're
Yeah.
looking for improvement or maybe you're trying to navigate a challenge.
Any area where you're looking to grow.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation.
It had.
I feel like I've gained a whole new perspective on digital transformation,
Yeah.
agile coaches,
Yeah.
and even my own personal approach to change.
It's been a pleasure diving into these concepts with you.
Yeah.
And remember, dear listener, the journey of change is ongoing. Embrace the challenges, learn from your experiences, and never stop evolving.
That's a great way to put it.
Yep.
And that's a wrap on another deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
We hope you've enjoyed exploring these ideas with us.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep those agile minds sharp.